How to stop being boring. This is my like 900 millionth video tutorial to help leaders and educators make connection and engagement easy. And so to mix this up, I'm inviting cameraman, conversations with the cameraman.
Hello.
So get to meet Steven. Steven is the master, vaccinated by the way.
Vaccinated, yeah.
So Steven doesn't actually even know what's gonna happen right now, and he was totally down for it. And so we're gonna have a conversation as if the camera wasn't even here, and I'm just gonna have a chat and kind of interview Steven on a couple things, because Steven has a very interesting perspective on this question. He might just not know it yet. Let's get into it. Now that Steven's unpacked a little bit, we've got this really, really important lesson to be relevant. And by the way, this was completely unstaged. That conversation didn't plan for it to happen. We were in the middle of filming. I was like, oh, Steven, are you willing? And of course, he's amazing, and so he was. I want to unpack a couple other lessons on how to stop being boring that are really practical, you can pick up and steal and use right away. Once you're actually in the place of relevance and you know that you care, or actually before that, you don't know you're in the place of relevance unless you ask questions. And so if you want to stop being boring, stop worrying about presenting things interestingly and just ask a question. Being interesting takes a lot of effort. Being curious, you can kind of be just chill and you can notice and wonder and inquire about that other person, and you're immediately not boring because the other person is engaged with your question and actually sharing. The other way that I would invite you to stop being boring is to mix up how you share and what you share. So sometimes tell stories, and sometimes use metaphors, and sometimes talk about research that you read about, and sometimes reference a podcast, but don't always reference a podcast that you looked over and over again. Or don't begin every sentence with, oh, in this YouTube video I saw blank, 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 right? Mix up the types of information that you're sharing. So sometimes when I'm meeting with a client, for example, I'll realize they're saying something and like, we need to visually conceptualize this. And so I'll draw it out for them, either on an iPad, if we're virtual, or in person. And that makes things more interesting. It serves as this attention reset. The other way, if you're presenting and you want to stop being boring, if you're in any way leading a meeting and you stop being boring, I would invite you to ask the group to take breaks, take what you need breaks, and maybe you actually take a break in the moment with the group and ask them what they need, and actually check in with what it is that they need and actually meet that. Give them whatever that is. So Steven, when we're filming, when we go to a place or a venue, your studio or another place, sure, we're filming lots of tutorials.
Yeah.
And so you're hearing, like, you're watching one video, you're watching 10 videos at a time.
10, 20, give or take.
And so I'm curious for you, when I'm actually presenting, you're seeing also the raw footage, the unedited footage. And so I'm curious for you, when you find yourself just genuinely like really tuning in and excited about content, and when you find yourself like, I think I might need some water or something. Because if I were you, I would be bored watching raw footage of 20 videos happen. Like this is a long shoot.
Mm-hmm. Okay, when am I the most interested? I would say, selfishly, it's when it's things that pertain to maybe running a small business, like I think some of the videos about, how do you build trust with employees? I think you've done a lot of videos on leadership and kind of getting input from other leaders. So admittedly, I think because those are relevant to me, I just naturally am tuning in. But I think that maybe not being an educator, or being someone who, not facilitating large group Zoom meetings all the time. Sometimes I'm just kind of like, not right now. It's gone away into the memory brain.
So pause. Super beautiful lesson in that, right? In other words, you basically said, when the content is super, super relevant to me, I start to tune in. So if you want to stop being boring, start being relevant. It's one of the things that I love about YouTube and the power of video. And for a little bit of context, Steven runs Anthem Video. You can go to anthem.video. They have this amazing website, does super good work in Steel City, Pittsburgh, and all around the world. And so check Steven's work out. I'm super grateful. He helps these video tutorials happen. Okay, so taking this one step further. So when I'm talking about things like, you're not necessarily an educator who's leading large group Zoom meetings, and some of my videos are helping people facilitate and lead better meetings, etc. I'm curious, when I'm in a video like that, what is something that I do that you notice like resets your attention? There's like, oh, like it brings back, even though the content might not be relevant, what do I do to make it not boring?
So when you move closer to the camera, maybe you go like this for something, and there's kind of like an eye-widening moment. I think those are those usually kind of re-engage me, jolt me back to life. And I wouldn't say that. No, they're extra engaging during when you do that stuff.
Cool. So Stephen, thank you. You are released. I really appreciate the authenticity. By the way,
I'm gonna go where I belong, which is just.
Right over there.
Yeah,
it was actually magical. It was really magical.
I agree.
Thank you.
This is great. Awesome.
Get out of here.
See you later.
Can we almost high five, but not high five?
Oh, we're gonna high five. Let's do it.
Most of my videos are like, I'm sharing 3 lessons here, or this model, or this structure, etc. This one is a little bit different. I kind of wanted to just have a chat about how to be boring, and part of the reason I wanted to do that is really good conversations are really interesting. They're not boring. If you made it to this point in the video, I trust that we just had a good conversation. Feel free to ask, share, etc. in the comments. I love to meet people there because my videos and my ongoing videos are a conversation. Most of the titles of my videos are actually verbatim questions that somebody has asked me, either a client or somebody in the comments or something else. And so get in conversation, get connected with me here. I suppose that's my pitch to subscribe, but I don't feel so strongly about that. Have an awesome day.